Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with the story of a typical Karen mother who's just not supposed to have children. So welcome to another episode of I don't care what happens to my kid as long as I get to browse Facebook in the shade. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Entitled mom dismisses my husband, an ocean lifeguard. My husband and I are both teachers, and he's also an ocean guard in the summer. Yesterday, there was a good rip current, and a kid on a boogie board kept floating into it. If you don't know what a rip is, it's a strong current that goes out to sea very quickly. It'll move you fast if you're on something floaty, like a boogie board. Kid was maybe 8. First time, my husband takes the paddleboard and swims the kid in, gives him a little lesson on what a rip looks like and how to avoid it. Second time, same deal. Third time, he decides the kid can't swim without a parent. The kid takes my husband to his mom, who's drinking a White Claw and is on her phone. Husband says the boy can't swim alone, explains that it's dangerous, etc. Mom gets upset and wants to speak to the captain. Guess what? My husband's the captain. Husband explains that he fished the kid out of a rip 3 times, so he's beached unless he's got a grown-up to swim with. Mom looks at him over her sunglasses and said, "I saw twice." Missed opportunity here. Your husband should have finished that encounter with, "Exactly, you only saw twice, and I saw and intervened 3 times. I don't want your kid to die. If you feel the same, swim with him." And our second story. Shut down my bakery, you say? Sure. I'm a law student graduating in less than a week, actually. I run a part-time bakery from my home kitchen because it helps me de-stress in between the work, and I donate all proceeds to my charity, so it's also a way of raising funds. Mine is the only bakery in my entire locality, so it became super popular amongst the families in my area super fast. And everyone especially loves my tart cakes. Last month, this one lady demanded 1 pound of this tart cake for the 1 pound price, no more, no less. So I gave her exactly that. And she was not happy and vowed that she'd never buy from me again and make sure to tell everyone she knew not to either. For the sake of convenience, I'll refer to her as EW going forward. Just a few days after this incident, I got infected with you know what. Thankfully, it wasn't a severe case, but my pre-existing health conditions did not help, and at least for a week in there, I couldn't even sit up in bed. It just wrecks your body completely. I'm still barely recovering. During that week, on one of the days when I had just a teensy bit more energy, I made one post on my Instagram blog about these breads that I baked, and my caption explicitly mentioned that this was made before I went into quarantine. EW saw that post on Instagram, and I guess she didn't bother reading my caption. She repeatedly called me that day, constantly disturbing me and my rest till I gave in and picked up her call. Completely casual, no acknowledgement of our previous disagreement, and her staunch vow to never support my business, she just went straight into it. "Hello, yeah, I saw your photo of those breads on Instagram and they look really nice. I want a basket of it tomorrow morning." I told her I'm sick and quarantined, but also I thought she was never going to buy from me again. She just laughed and said, "No, those are just things one says. Please make those breads and send them over by tomorrow morning." So I told her again that I'm sick with a highly contagious and deadly virus. I'm not taking any orders right now. I heard her rant about today's generation as I hung up on her. She called me thrice over the period of my quarantine, each time for a different dish, and each time the conversation went the same. Apparently she was okay with making them because she has antibodies, but I'm sick and incapable of getting out of bed, let alone bake. Like I also mentioned, I'm graduating. I have lots of assignments and exams ongoing, and they sort of piled up because I couldn't do anything for almost 3 weeks. On top of that, I'm also recovering, and it's not been easy. So I sent out a broadcast message saying I won't be taking orders for May. Any baking I've done for the past few days has been just stress busters and easy stuff that doesn't require a lot of effort. On Sunday, I made a baked eggless cheesecake, something I've had on my to-do list for the longest time. pic on my profile if you're interested, and I made a very excited post about it on my blog because it came out perfectly. The post was barely up, and EW called me. Sigh. I responded because it's just too much of a hassle to ignore at this point. Child, I saw this mango cake type thing just now on Instagram. Can you make 1 pound of that and 4 loaves of freshly baked bread for tomorrow? I want them by 8 a.m., just in time for breakfast. And I'm totally gobsmacked because, firstly, I don't take orders on such short notice. I need at least 48 hours so I can plan and prepare accordingly. Secondly, 4 loaves of bread by 8 in the morning means I would have to make them all night long, which I'm definitely not doing. This is a part-time home bakery, not a bread factory. Third, she knows I'm not taking orders right now. So I told her all of this, and boy, was she pissed. She started ranting about how unprofessional I am and how she's tried so many times to place orders with me, but I'm highly irresponsible and losing out on so many orders, and then ended it all with, if you don't know how to run a bakery, then close it and go back to doing whatever you were doing before. Here's the thing. I will officially be a lawyer in July. I knew when I started this it wasn't a long-term thing. After I graduate, I'll barely have time to bake, forget baking professionally. I was initially planning on doing this while I was still unemployed, but I figured I can dedicate a month or so to just the job hunt. So I sent out another broadcast message stating that XYZ Bakery will officially be closing after June, and I'll no longer be taking orders due to some recent negative feedback. One of my regular clients called me and wanted to express how sorry she was wanted to hear the whole story, so I told her everything EW told me that day about being unprofessional and that I should shut down my bakery. My culture likes to infantilize my generation, and I played my part of the sweet young kid who was scolded by an older woman and had obviously taken the scolding to heart. Because kids should always respect their elders. What I didn't know was that my regular and EW are sisters-in-law. They're both married to 2 brothers and live next door to each other. My regular complained to their mother-in-law about EW's behavior, and mother-in-law berated her heavily for behaving so rudely with a child. I'm 23, but as long as it works for me. And she should have more maturity as the adult. So today I got a call from EW with what is the typical adult way of apologizing. Child, why are you taking my words to heart? These are just things one says. I was only trying to help you be more professional and prepare you for the outside world. Don't close your bakery. I replied to her in a really innocent tone. No, auntie, you were absolutely right. I shouldn't be baking. I should go back to law and focus on finding a job. I'll do that. I won't take any more orders after June. My mom's friend, who basically runs the gossip channel of the neighborhood, told Mom that EW is being blamed by all the ladies for shutting down the only bakery in our area, and she's no longer invited to their weekly Zoom Tambola evenings. I'm so glad you managed to get the social circle to turn on her. Karen blocks homeowners to get into their homes. Hi, this is a story from one of my mother's friends. She lives in a private residential complex. This is something similar to an HOA in America, but not exactly. This is a number of houses, possibly built on the land of a single person with a walled enclosure, and it can be accessed through a main gate. The people who buy houses there usually have to pay some money monthly to the residential complex administration. I live in one of these, but we don't pay anything because there's no such organization in the complex where I live because everybody hates each other and can't organize. These residential complexes are quite common in my country. My mom has a friend who lives in a private residential complex in my city. She told us once the story about a Karen who was the president of the complex administration. This Karen would constantly harass the homeowners for the monthly payments, and everybody hated her for that. The thing is that this Karen would give specific instructions to the security guards on the main gate to not let in any owner who had a delay in payment. Yes, she expects the owners to pay on time or wouldn't let them get in their homes. Also, wouldn't let anyone in after 10 p.m., no matter if they're up to payment or not. My mom's friend has a daughter in school. One day, the daughter came back from school, but when she got to the main gate, there was Karen, and she would not let the child in because the mom had a 1-day delay on the payment. The child ended up going to her grandma's house until the mom could pick her up and take her home. One day, everybody was tired of Karen, so they gathered and took the entire gate down, leaving it free for anyone to come in. Also, they were preparing to sue Karen. I don't know what happened next, but I think my mom's friend moved out somewhere else. And our last story.
Business owner tries to bully neighbor, ends up losing his livelihood. My friend inherited his parents' house a few years back, and he's slowly been renovating it. The house is nothing special and is not in the best area, but it's his. No bank, no mortgage. It also happens to be next door to a restaurant. The restaurant had been a neighborhood fixture for decades, but has slowly declined with the neighborhood. Cue the old owners walking away and selling it to a real sleazeball. New owner wants to buy my friend's house to demo it so he can expand the restaurant's parking lot. Instead of offering a fair price, sleazeball tries to lowball my friend, assuming he doesn't know the property's potential value. Sleazeball gets offended when my friend counters with fair market value and begins to bully him with passive-aggressive crap, delivery trucks blocking a sidewalk, new super bright security lights that shine into the house, etc. On top of that, Sleazeball is openly racist and refers to my friends as all sorts of epithets. Sleazeball even tries to turn the neighbors against my friend by telling him that he's a drunk, has anger issues, etc. All the while, Sleazeball is doing major renovations and expansions to his restaurant. The revenge. My friend does contracting work for the city and is on a first-name basis with the local boards. Turns out Sleazeball didn't file for the proper permits. After an anonymous report to the inspectors, he's ordered to demolish the new expansion. You'd think that'd be it, but no. The restaurant hasn't been properly inspected for years, and the city orders further inspections. Another anonymous report stated that the restaurant was unsanitary. No surprise. It fails the health and safety inspection and is condemned as structurally deficient. Between the fines, repair costs, and loss of business, the owner files for bankruptcy, and the old restaurant is demolished.
Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.